Have you ever just seen a trend explode out of nowhere? One day it doesn't even exist, and the next day it is absolutely everywhere. Well, that's not just random chance. It's actually a powerful, kind of invisible force that shapes what we buy, what we share, and yeah, even what we believe. So let's dive into that unseen current that drives all of these viral ideas.
To really get a handle on this, let's start with a scene that I think we're all incredibly familiar with in our hyper-connected world: the birth of a viral idea.
Just think about a viral challenge, or a meme, or one of those sudden stock market frenzies. It all starts with just one post, right? A single idea. And then, almost instantly, it just catches fire.
Now, what's really fascinating is how it spreads. It's not just some random explosion. No, it's a network effect. It's this powerful psychological current that pulls thousands, sometimes millions of us in the exact same direction, at the exact same time.
That right there is the central mystery we're going to try and unravel. Why do we follow the herd? And why do we do it sometimes even when our own logic is just screaming at us to turn back?
To find the answer to that, we really need to look at a concept that social psychologists have been wrestling with for over 100 years, something they call herd mentality.
To put it simply, it's our deep-seated gut instinct to follow the actions and adopt the beliefs of a bigger group. And it's an incredibly powerful driver of our behavior. From fashion trends all the way to financial markets. This is a really stark quote from Gustave Le Bon, who was one of the first social psychologists to seriously dig into this. And his point was pretty unsettling, that when we become part of a crowd, our individual rational mind can just kind of switch off, and it gets replaced by something far more primitive and instinctual.
So why do we do it? What makes us so willing to just surrender our own judgment? Well, the reasons are buried deep inside our evolutionary past and our most basic psychological needs.
See, our brains are basically wired with these drivers. For our ancestors, safety in numbers literally meant survival. If you strayed from the herd, you were in real danger. Today, that wiring translates into the fear of missing out, FOMO, when we see everybody else doing something. We have this powerful desire for social approval because fitting in just feels good, it feels safe. And when we're confused or unsure, we look to the crowd for uncertainty reduction. We just assume the group must know best.
Psychologists have kind of boiled these pressures down into two main types of social influence. So on one hand, you've got informational influence. That's when you follow the crowd because you genuinely think they have better information than you do. And on the other hand, there's normative influence. That's when you follow along just because you want to be accepted and you're afraid of being the odd one out.
Now, let's look at how this was proven in a classic and, frankly, pretty unsettling experiment that shows the true power of group pressure.
Okay, so picture this. You volunteered for what you've been told is a simple vision test. You walk into a room with a few other people, the researcher begins, and the task seems incredibly easy. The researcher shows you two cards. Your job is just to say which of the three lines on the right card matches the length of the line on the left. The answer is completely obvious, right? A child could do it. But what you don't know is that everyone else in that room is an actor, and they've all been instructed to lie.
So, the first couple of rounds go by, no problem. Then, on a critical trial, the first person gives an answer that is just clearly wrong. Then the second person agrees with them. Then the third. One by one, they all give the same incorrect answer. And now, it's your turn. What do you do?
The results were shocking. On average, about a third of the real participants just caved the pressure of the group and went along with the clearly incorrect majority. They completely ignored the evidence of their own eyes.
And this effect was widespread. Over the course of all the trials, a staggering 75% of participants conformed to the group's wrong answer at least one time. Think about that. That means 3 out of every 4 people were swayed by the herd.
And this experiment gave us a name for this powerful phenomenon: the Asch effect. It's the measurable pressure a group can exert to distort your individual judgment, even when you're staring right at the obvious facts.
Now, okay, the Asch experiment was in a lab in the 1950s. But these same psychological forces are now at play on a global scale, and they're amplified by the algorithms and social networks of our digital world.
Scientists now model this social contagion in a lot of different ways. They look at how ideas spread. Some of it is what they call emotional contagion, like how a mood can spread through a room. Other times it's more deliberate, based on what we see as rational social influence.
So let's look at a modern version of the Asch experiment. In this huge study on a news website, researchers took a bunch of comments and secretly gave some of them an artificial initial upvote. Well, guess what? Those comments ended up with a final score that was 25% higher than the ones they didn't touch.
And here is the most stunning part. That one single fake upvote made the very next person who saw the comment 32% more likely to give it a real upvote. Does that number sound familiar? It's almost the exact same percentage of conformity as an Asch's line experiment all those decades ago. The technology changes, but our psychology, it stays the same.
So all of this brings us to a final and maybe the most important question. It really forces us to look inward and just examine our own decision-making process. You know, whether it's liking a post or adopting an opinion or buying a product just because it's popular, this question is more relevant than ever. Understanding the pull of the herd is really the first step toward conscious, independent thought, and it's definitely a question worth asking.